Before nations had borders, before maps could contain you, there was you, born in a palace, who would grow up to conquer the entire known world. The year was 356 BC. In the royal city of Pella, Macedonia, you entered the world. Your mother, Olympias, believed she had given birth not to a man, but to a god. She named you Alexander. From your earliest years, you were different. While other boys played, you trained. While others rested, you studied. You were not content to be a prince. You wanted to be a legend. Your father, King Philip II, hired the greatest mind in the world, Aristotle, to be your teacher. For 3 years, you learned philosophy, medicine, science, and the art of war. Aristotle told you, "Know yourself, and you shall know all." You took that to heart. At age 12, you did something no man dared. You tamed Bucephalus, a wild horse that had thrown every rider. You turned the horse to face the sun, away from its own shadow, and rode him effortlessly. Your father wept with pride and said, "My son, find a kingdom worthy of you. Macedonia is too small." Every morning of your campaign life began the same way. Before the sun had fully risen, you were awake. You prayed to Heracles and Achilles, your divine ancestors. You believed their blood ran through your veins, and you intended to prove it. Your army, the Macedonian phalanx, was the most feared military force on earth. 16 men deep, armed with the deadly Sarissa spear, they moved as one unstoppable wall. You trained with them, you ate what they ate, you bled what they bled. Then fate struck. Your father, King Philip II, was assassinated. You were only 20 years old. You crushed the rebellion in weeks, executed the conspirators, secured your borders, and in a single, breathtaking move, declared yourself King of Macedonia, hegemon of Greece, and commander of the Persian War. In 334 BC, you crossed the Hellespont into Asia with 40,000 men. As you stepped onto Asian soil, you thrust your spear into the ground and declared, "Asia is mine, won by the spear." You would never return home. Each night, after the march, you held council. Your generals, Hephaestion, Ptolemy, Craterus, Perdiccas, gathered around maps of empires you were about to devour. You never slept without planning tomorrow's conquest. Sleep, to you, was a waste of time. You ate with your men. You drank with your generals. You called your best friend Hephaestion, the other Alexander. There was no separation between king and soldier in your mind, only brotherhood. This bond was what made your army unconquerable. At the Battle of Issus in 333 BC, you faced Darius III, the god king of Persia, with an army 3 times larger than your own. You did not wait. You charged directly at Darius himself, breaking through the center like lightning. Darius fled. His mother, wife, and daughters were captured. You treated them with complete honor. The Persian queen mother, Sisygambis, accidentally bowed to Hephaestion instead of you. A servant rushed to correct her. You simply said, "Do not worry, he too is Alexander." She wept, not from fear, but from the shock of mercy she never expected from a conqueror. You founded 70 cities bearing your name across the known world. The greatest, Alexandria in Egypt, would become the capital of civilization for centuries. You didn't just conquer lands, you built worlds. You entered Persepolis, the throne room of the world's greatest empire. You sat on the very throne of Cyrus the Great. The Persian Empire, 200 years old, was finished. But instead of burning everything, you ordered most of it preserved. You respected greatness, even in your enemies. That night, reportedly at the urging of your companions, fire was set to the palace. Whether it was a symbolic act of revenge for Athens or a drunken mistake, no one knows. But you are said to have regretted it the next morning. The march into the Persian heartland was brutal. Blistering heat, no shade, supplies running thin. When a soldier brought you the only helmet of water available, you poured it into the sand, in front of all your men, saying, "If my soldiers cannot drink, I will not drink." The army roared. The oracle had spoken. Whoever untied the Gordian knot would rule all of Asia. Every great man had failed. You walked up, studied it, and cut it in half with your sword. "The knot is untied," you said. "The method is mine." The crowd fell silent, then erupted. You pushed east, beyond anything any Greek or Persian had ever seen, through the Hindu Kush mountains, into the Punjab. You were chasing the edge of the world, what the Greeks called the Great Ocean. You believed if you could reach it, you had conquered everything. At the Hydaspes River, you faced King Porus of India and his war elephants. In a monsoon thunderstorm, your cavalry crossed the river by night and flanked the entire Indian army. When Porus was captured, wounded, and proud, you asked, "How do you wish to be treated?" Porus answered, "Like a king." You smiled and gave him back his kingdom. After 8 years of marching, your men finally broke. At the Bias River, just miles from what you believed was the edge of the world, your generals refused to go further. You retreated to your tent for 3 days. You wept. For the first time in your life, you had been stopped. Not by an enemy, but by the love your men had for their homes. Then came the blow that shattered you. Your dearest friend, your soul, Hephaestion, fell ill with fever and died. You cut your hair in mourning, ordered a period of grief across the entire empire, and spent days lying on the body, refusing to leave. The other half of you died that day. In Babylon, 323 BC, you attended a great banquet. You drank deep, you laughed. You spoke of your next campaign, Arabia. But that night, you fell into a fever. Day by day, the greatest warrior the world had ever seen grew weaker. As you lay dying, your generals asked, "Who do you leave your empire to?" You whispered, "To the strongest." You were 32 years old. In 13 years of conquest, you had never lost a single battle. You had marched 20,000 miles. You had liberated, conquered, and transformed more of the earth than any man before or since. Your empire immediately fractured after your death, divided among your generals. But your real legacy was indestructible. You had spread Greek language, culture, science, and philosophy from Greece to India. The Hellenistic Age, one of the greatest flowerings of human civilization, was your true empire. You didn't just conquer the world, you changed it forever. They asked you once what you feared most. You said, "There are no more worlds left to conquer." You were 32 years old, and you had already lived 10 lifetimes. This was your life. Alexander the Great.